You're listening to DraftKings Network.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Black Friday deals are going on all month long. Save up to 45% off site-wide plus an additional 10% off every order right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Usually I look at this camera and I welcome people into South Beach sessions, but Max Greenfield has requested that this be more intimate. So tell me how you want to do this so that there can be a maximum intimate conversation.
I would have liked for you to have recorded everything we said for the last 20 minutes.
Well, you were asking me a lot of questions. You're a sports dork. You were asking me a lot of questions. I should tell the people when I'm introducing you that A Man on the Inside is what you're doing now with our friend Mike Schur on Netflix. Okay?
Friend of the show.
Yes, but you're not just here because, you want to hang out. We're plugging something. So I've done my part here. Now we can go intimate?
Yes. A Man on the Inside, Season 2, from creator Mike Schur, starring Ted Danson.
And you're in the mix.
I'm in the mix.
Okay.
We'll get there.
But they've welcomed you into their family. They seem like really decent people. It seems very un-Hollywood, whatever Ted Danson and Mike Schur and their significant others have going on.
It's incredible. Mike Schur is the greatest. I've known him for a very long time. We've been friendly for ages, and he finally invited me to come work with him, and it was spectacular, as you would imagine.
Okay, well, I want to hear more about it. But should I introduce you as New Girl, The Neighborhood?
This is your show.
Writer of children's books. Like, if you want to be identified publicly by your work, what is it that you would put in front of people to tell?
All those things sounded great.
Okay, all right. Well, children's books, like that seems like something that's far afield from everything else you're doing.
Right. It came about in a very strange way. A worldwide pandemic hit. My daughter, who, she was like entering 4th grade, and there was some academic struggles happening, and we had put what they call scaffolding around her and support, and she finally was really thriving and doing well, and she had some wonderful teachers in 4th grade, and then the pandemic hit, and she was at school on a Friday, and then a Saturday there was like everyone felt like, whoa, this is bad. Sunday, everybody was just like, I guess we're home forever. And then Monday, the school sent us a curriculum that I was now tasked on teaching her, and I'm not the sharpest.
Well, you famously dropped out of school, right?
I don't know, famously, but...
You went to pursue your dreams is a better way of putting it.
I don't know if my father would say famous.
Yes.
Disappointingly.
School wasn't your thing.
School was very difficult for me. It was not something that ever quite made sense. Still kind of doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, we were stuck in a room with a curriculum, and we looked at each other, and she knew my struggles. And, I would say to her, Dad couldn't read any of this stuff. And so I would come into her room every once in a while. Hey, did you do your homework? And she's like, well, you definitely couldn't do it, so why should I? And I'm like, that wasn't the point of the story.
No, that really wasn't why I was sharing with you. Not that. Again, not good at learning, not good at teaching.
Not good at parenting. And so anyway, so we took to Instagram and took a picture because both of us were completely overwhelmed and frightened. And I think we captioned it Professor Greenfield. And we threw it out there, and using social media in the way that I think it should be used, which is we're scared, we're overwhelmed, we feel very alone, we want to connect with other people and see hopefully that other people are feeling the same way as we are. And we got this tremendous response, and all these first responders called in or wrote on the Instagram and said, oh, these are great. We miss our students so much. I'm in the hospital. Our shift is, God only knows how long. These pictures, these videos that we started to do are getting us through this. And so my daughter and I just started to break up the school day by making these videos. And within that, I had an agent call me and was like, what can we do with this? And I was like, I don't know if we're doing anything. So
the agent did jazz hands, the whole thing. Like, I've arrived here. Wait, you've got a sweet, pure thing. How do we commercialize it? Well, and so you're like, no, it's got a better soul than that. It shouldn't be quite that quick and dirty.
Yes. And I said, we're not doing anything. He goes, well, what if it's like, first he said, what if it was a podcast? And I said, I don't want to hear myself talk that long. I haven't done a podcast in a really long time. I'm like, I love you and I love Mike. And I was like, I really want to be here. But I'm so sick of hearing myself talk.
That's not usually the way that one goes in acting. I thought you were supposed to be really enraptured with the way that you talk.
I did a podcast a while ago, and it was one I listened to and wanted to be on. And as soon as I said yes to it and then was in the moment of, participating in it, and I thought, oh my God, I'm like the last person I want to hear on this show. And this was such a bad idea.
This is such a good sales job, by the way, on the idea of you're going to find all of this interesting. I promise you. It's just he's not going to find it interesting because he's bored by the sound of his own voice. This, though, is an interesting playground for you. So you made something pure in collaboration with your daughter. It was artistic at a scared time.
Yes.
It created community. But on top of that, I found that a lot of actors, creative types, like I've talked to a number of people in this setting. Let me see who was, I'm trying to think of, Lewis Black.
Yeah.
Is home for a day alone in the pandemic and starts looking at his life and doesn't like what it is that he's seeing and needs to start creating immediately because creatives have to create. So you do this with your daughter, though, but it's organic.
Very organic. And also, we were receiving all of this really positive feedback from people who were on the front lines of something that was happening that was very, very intense.
So community, the power of community, the power of not alone.
And we thought if we could continue to bring joy to people's lives through Instagram, like, great, we'll do it. So we did it, and it was nice. And people, the comments were so positive and sweet, and I think they were really uplifting for her during that time.
You, the first person ever to have a positive experience with social media.
And so they said, what if it's a podcast? I go, please, God, I can't do a podcast. And they said, what if it's a book? I go, a real book? And he goes, no. And he knew me. And he goes, well, what if it's a picture book, like a children's book? And I love children's books, and I've read them to both my kids, and they were about the right length for me. And I'd always had an idea about a children's book that I would have liked to have written, but obviously was never motivated to do. And I said, well, if I was ever going to write a children's book, it would be called I Don't Want to Read This Book, and it would be all the reasons why a kid doesn't want to read a book, but by the end of the book, they will have read a book. And so he said, can I pitch that? And I go for it. And then like 2 days later, I remember thinking, that was actually a really good idea, and I would like to write that book. It's a shame nothing will ever happen with it. And then I think a day after that, he called me. He goes, we've sold it to Penguin. And I go, you got to be kidding me.
So it was just an idea, really.
Totally, yeah.
And it doesn't have much of anything to do, like, with what we were just talking about, right? Like, it's like you're writing an anti-learning book that's funny for kids from an adult perspective that treats them like adults by speaking to their language. Nobody actually wants to be doing this.
Yes, and also, like, the struggles that one has with it, or that a child has with it, or that I had with it, or that a parent has with it, trying to get their child who has problems with it. And it articulates a lot of those feelings and insecurities, and hopefully creates a conversation for a child and a teacher, a librarian, whatever it is, a parent. And it was so relevant and present and part of my experience that writing it was a piece of cake.
Well, when you say part of your experience, you're talking about your troubles with school, right? Or whatever whatever the norm was on how you were supposed to learn.
Yes, for sure. It times are a lot different now, and I think if you have the resources, which we do, you and I feel very grateful to have those resources, but not a lot of people do, actually. You know, you can identify real differences that kids have in their learning experience. I grew up in a situation where we did not have those resources, and no one identified those differences. And it wasn't until much later that I was like, oh yeah, there's some real issues here. And so, you know, the books, and there's been multiple books since then, but they're not like solving childhood literacy in our country, but it's another tool for teachers. And I just got back from the Indiana Youth Institute conference and spoke to a bunch of, like, they have this beautiful conference they do. It was there Monday, with all educators and youth workers and everybody, and spoke to them about these books, and it's just all adding to the conversation and trying to get kids to open up and talk about what's going on with them and what struggles they might be having in a classroom that they're unable to articulate.
It's interesting that you're sort of framing it in a wonderful nobility when really there's just all the bleep you in you of, I was someone who didn't like to read books. Now I write them. I was somebody who didn't do well in school. Now I'm part of a lecture series at the school after I have dropped out. Like, this is an undercurrent in your life, right? Make something out of taking a different path.
Yes, and also just, I can't believe I'm here. I was on stage at this thing. I was on stage, and I was reading, well, who have you guys had before this who spoke at this conference? And they were like, well, you know, we had Bill Nye a couple years ago, and Maya Angelou came and spoke, LeVar Burton, and I go, wow, you really...
Yeah, they exhausted all of the good the good guests.
I'm like, I'm so sorry.
That's good company. Yeah, you're keeping good company
I
there.
know, it has been a wild, wild experience.
All right, well, take me back to, why are you dropping out of school, and why don't you believe in school, and how does that go over with the family?
I shouldn't say that I don't believe in school. I couldn't do it. There was a part of me.
You said you don't understand school.
Yeah, I think there was a part of me for a really long time that thought, probably in my 20s and 30s, like, if I wanted to go back and I really tried, I could probably do it. And at some point I got to a place where I realized I actually don't think I can. I think there's requirements for graduating a university or college that I really think I'm incapable of doing.
What is it? It's not a lack of discipline? What is it? Scatter mind? Your brain works differently than the customized ways of learning?
I get distracted very easily. If I find that I'm just not interested in something, or that I've exhausted all areas of interest and this is not for me, it's very hard for me to stick with it.
So you follow your heart? Like, you're well aware of what your intuitions are, what you like and what you don't like, and so you were strong enough at you were 17 years old to tell your dad or whoever you'd be disappointing here, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not for me.
I would say strength was not what I would call it. I would probably lean more into fear at that point. I was just so overwhelmed and terrified of engaging in any type of education, and it just didn't feel like this is where I can't really articulate it, but I had I guess a gut feeling where this is not the place for me. Organized learning, being in a university or a college, is not the place for me. And then I whatever it took to have the conversation with my father about, I'm not going to continue this, which he was like, oh my God. And then found an acting class.
How does this go over though with the family? You're basically
not well.
I mean, you're quitting on what their idea was, a life of discipline or safety, and you're not their responsibility anymore.
Yeah, I think as a parent, you can get a vibe on your kid and see like what they're going through, and I think there must have been some sort of understanding that this is a real struggle for my son here. And he at least has an alternative path, which maybe is not one that I agree with or that scares me as a parent. But God bless my parents. They both, reluctantly, I think, against their better judgment, supported an alternative
My
path.
father didn't speak to me for a while when I was in college, because you keep in mind, he comes in and he's an exile, and all he's trying to do is make sure that I get to a safe path. Engineering seems like a safe path, and I tell him I want to be a writer when I am. And so I got a lot of silence after that. It wasn't a lot of support, and I wasn't strong enough. Like you say, you're not strong, but there is absolutely strength in that age of saying, you know what, I'm not going to do what you want. My body's recoiling against this. I'm going to go do what I want. That's absolutely grown up.
Yeah. But I will say, and I have a question, though, because the 20 minutes you cut out of this interview in the beginning was a beautiful sort of discussion we were having about your father. And I wonder if when you told him that you were going to be a writer, was there any fear on his part about you expressing ideas and being public with your thoughts?
That sounds good, but it was just, who's going to pay you to do that?
Right.
I came to this country, sacrificed everything so that you can go to a private school. You need to be an engineer. You need to be. You need to do something that's serious. So your heart sending you, or your fear, you're classifying as fear, is chasing the arts. You felt like you had to do something creative.
Well, I think there was like a lack of understanding too, because my father was. And very successful, but was in finance. And so
it's a different brain.
The arts were not, a part of his experience.
The arts, my father's an engineer. He's coming from Cuba. The expression's not a thing. Never mind the arts.
Yeah. He actually, so my dad worked, he was in the finance department at several different record labels. So he would work with artists, musicians, and they would come in, they'd ask him for money because we were like, we need to do this. And I remember his last job was at Warner Brothers Records, and KRS-One was like do you remember KRS-One?
Yes. You were so eager to have the recognition in my eyes that said, yes, I know what you're
for a second
of.
I was like, maybe this one's going over on Dan.
We're together here. You're a little young for this, it feels like, but
no. KRS-One came in, and we're from New York. So KRS-One came in, and he was working at Warner Brothers at the time. And he was, I think, heading up their hip hop label. And he was having like this discussion with my father. My father comes in. He's like, and I walked in, and he's like, Max, come in. He goes, I'd like you to introduce. I go, you don't have to introduce me to anybody. And then KRS-One was having like this like intense conversation with my father, but a good one. Turns around and then immediately realizes like, oh, this kid knows my music a little bit, and then gives me like a few bars from some song, and I was just like, oh my God. And my dad was like, okay, please, can we continue this? But so he had experience with artists and that side of what we do and being at it. But I also think he was very aware of how difficult it was. And I think you don't want to see, as a parent myself, like you don't want to see your children in harm's way or struggle or anything, but it takes a lot of love on and it did on his part and my mother's part, for them to sort of put that aside and at least understand that they really didn't have a choice in this.
So what did the climb look like after that, though? Because you came to success pretty early, didn't you?
No, there was 10 years of there was 10, 11, actually there was more than that. It was about 12 years of really just slamming my head into a wall. Probably both literally and figuratively. It was a tough run. It was a really challenging run.
So hold on. So give it up. So you've got these dreams that everyone here has, right? And you don't have any of the disciplines that would be learned traditionally in school, but you don't necessarily need them for what it is that you're trying to do. But you also don't know very much about what you're doing.
Right. But I had some wonderful teachers who were able to show me how to do this, showed me who to look at, who did this best, and really started to study what it is I feel like I do now. And by the way, I was attracted to all the people who were nowhere near doing the things that I ended up doing. But I felt like I was on a path and learning and just totally inspired and had moments, because you don't always have these, like, especially with acting, it's like, you're up on, it's always like this didn't go well, or that felt weird. And every once in a while you get a moment where you, especially early on, where it drops in and it works and you go, whoa.
This is why I'm doing it. This is what I'm chasing. Yeah,
and that's it. And I was totally out of my head, and I wasn't thinking about the thing, and I did enough work where you drop into it, and you're in it, and it's great. And so it gave me enough of fuel to be like, this is what I want.
But that's all you need for learning, right? This is the learning that you want, where you're inspired to do it. Don't have me learn the way that you teach everybody else.
Well, also, I never had that experience with anything else in my life where I was like, I want to do this. This fills me in a way that this connects with me in a way that nothing else does. And so went out and chased it as hard as I could. And, was fortunate, I guess, for a while, probably like in my mid-20s, where I started to actually audition for things. And there was a run towards the end of my 20s where I was just getting really close on everything, where it would be like down to me and another guy, or just the producers would be like, we only want him. And it just kept happening over and over and over and over again, but not working out.
So, but 10 to 12 years, you're just getting bit parts, or you're not getting bit parts?
A few bit parts here and there. And then just never connecting on anything that felt, substantial or real. Like you want to be a part of the show, as opposed to, you come in for a day on the show. And I was doing like a day here and there, or a few days here and there, and had some like really wonderful advocates early on, but it didn't feel like it was ever going to click.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Jeremy.
I've got kind of an open secret, but I want to tell you what it is here, because Mike's not here right now.
Well, you better whisper.
I really like it when the Hurricanes lose, and it gives me a reason to celebrate when I'm watching college football.
Well, let's open a Miller Lite and cheers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you know how I do that? There's nothing quite like it. It's really a spectacular thing to have for your college football Sunday.
It's so good.
Game day, it's different with Miller Lite in your hand.
You don't have to whisper the whole time.
I can't stop.
From jaw-dropping touchdowns to fantasy heartbreaks, it's the beer that's been there for every moment. 50 years of great taste, simple ingredients, and that iconic golden color that you can spot from across the room.
I see one right now. I'm looking across the room.
I like the way that you flirt with Miller Lite.
I mean, look at it. It looks great. It's looking
beautiful.
at me.
You want to know why?
I'm looking at it. It's looking at me.
It's probably because it's just 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. It's the original light beer since 1975, which means it's that Bob Ryan age. Still hitting different 5 decades later. Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/beach to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Miller Lite, I want you in me.
The holidays really stress me out. I try to be a really good gift giver, and when you get toward this time of year, you keep thinking, I have enough time. And overall, really, the holidays are stressful, but especially if you run a business. I see what you guys go through. It's like 1 minute you're planning a sale, next minute your website's crashing, your inventory's off, and someone's DMing you a discount code that expired in 2022. It's total chaos. That's why you need Shopify. It takes that holiday madness and turns it into... Shopify powers millions of businesses. We're talking everyone from Mattel and Gymshark to the folks just getting started this Black Friday. You don't have to be a tech genius either. Shopify's got thousands of ready-made templates, AI tools that write your product descriptions, even polish your photos, and built-in marketing tools to cut through the holiday noise. And that purple Shop Pay button, that's the secret sauce. This Black Friday, join the thousands of new entrepreneurs hearing for the first time with Shopify. Sign up for your free trial today at shopify.com/Batard. That's shopify.com/Batard, BATARD. Go to shopify.com/Batard and make this Black Friday one to remember.
So a decade of on the side, you're also working in a retirement home, or you're also doing spin classes? You're teaching spin classes?
There was a lot of jobs. There was
and a lot of bad jobs, or a lot of okay jobs, or a lot of jobs that you were like, okay, I want to make sure that I get out of doing this job. I need to stop doubting and have some success.
I was kind of messing around for a really long time. The spin classes were great because it was my friend Andrea's gym, and she allowed me to use the gym for free if I taught the spin classes. So I didn't even get paid for those, but I was like, she let me come to the gym.
Okay, so it wasn't even work. You were she let me come to the gym. So it's not a job. You're still not earning money. The retirement home, the selling of drugs to old people, that was a real job.
That was not selling drugs to old people. That was delivering them.
Pharmaceuticals in a retirement home. You were running an opioids game on old people, right? You were addicting old people to...
I was not aware that they were opioids. It was a box, and I would take them. It may not have been opioids. I don't know what it was.
Okay, you don't know. It was a box, and that's the end of your liabilities.
I worked for the delivery service. Oh, man, you'd end up in these... God.
Tell me, I want to hear about the retirement homes. So you're drifting, you're dreaming of acting, and you're drifting through retirement homes with a box of pills.
Well, so most actors get jobs as waiters, but I was too scared to be a waiter because I didn't think I could remember people's orders, and I just thought the environment was too stressful for me, and I needed to just be on my own. And so I had gotten a job, as I was like, I can drive, and so I got this job delivering pharmaceuticals to old age homes, and you would go to some warehouse where they go, okay, this is going to such and such, and they give you the boxes, you put them in your car, and then you drive them out to Oxnard or whatever, where there's an old age home, and you would deliver these pharmacies, and they'd have a sign for it and whatever. But some of these homes, it was a really eye-opening experience. It's
going to be sad. Sure, it's going to be hard. You're going to be surrounded by, mortality and age and sickness. No, this sounds like not a great job.
It was so awful. And then at some point, I was like, this is too intense for me. I can't go into another old age home. But the same company referred me then to a different company, which was at that time called the Go-Between, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was for everybody in the business. And so if an agency had a package that they had to deliver to Brad Pitt, they would give you a pack. You'd go to the agency, pick it up, and then you'd drive it over to Brad Pitt. And so that was really fun, but also super depressing too, because you were I was driving to all these places and a part of this world that I so badly wanted to be in. And I was like, I'm dropping off I'm dropping off the pack.
So the closest you're getting to the fragrance of Brad Pitt is dropping off a pharmaceutical bag to his assistant.
I did have to drop off. He was dating Jennifer Aniston at the time, and they had they had some sort of alias name on there, but somebody at the company was like, hey man, that's Brad and Jen's house. And I was like, oh shit.
This is just terrible. So this is how you spend 10 to 12 years. 10 to 12 years,
Not 10 to 12 years.
Slumming around the gutters of Hollywood, trying to figure it out. I disrespected you by saying you came to success pretty early. You're like, no, it was shitty for 12 years.
It was shitty, and there were some personal issues that I was trying to deal with, and I was able to sort of find some sort of...
You were a child when you got to Hollywood, right? You're a bit a little reckless, 18, immature, whatever. You want to live a Hollywood life, but you are not an adult yet.
I don't know that I wanted to live a Hollywood life, but I don't truly know what I wanted. I think now I wanted to be doing what I'm doing now and have been doing for the last couple of years, which is working and doing what I love. And I wasn't able to. I didn't know what that was yet. And I also for sure wasn't capable of doing that when I was that age. And then what really happened was I had met my wife, and she had gotten pregnant with our first child, Lily, our daughter. And I was running around to auditions, and I thought, I don't want to be the guy who's bringing the car seat into an audition, be like, listen, man, I'm just gonna like, my voice is probably, I just don't want to make a baby, but like, I can obviously do this at a higher volume. It just felt like a very selfish, it felt like a selfish choice at that point to put this career ahead of what was so obviously now important. And I thought, I've got to try to find employment elsewhere. And so I really started looking, and luckily no one hired me.
Oh, so you were looking to quit?
Oh yeah. I was looking at other, but I had no education and no experience, and I couldn't go back to selling pharmaceuticals.
Oh, so you were that close to quitting. You have a child. You don't know. You need to make a good living to raise the child. Your wife is a casting director as well, right? So she's from the business, and she's telling you go find a different job, or she's encouraging
no
you?
She has her own story. She just had a beautiful book that came out last year called We've Decided to Go in a Different Direction.
I thought, by the way, when I researched this, they told me that your relationship is covered a lot in there, and I'm like, what an odd title for happily married people to have a book about their relationship. We've decided to go in a different direction, and then I realized it was just about
I was promoting it at one point and had a conversation just like this before it came out, and I was like, the book is great. It's called We've Decided. And they said, is it about your divorce? I go, we're not divorced. But it's about her. It's about her losing her job at the beginning of the pandemic, and her father at the end of the pandemic, and she goes back and forth between those. Those are sort of like the goalposts of the story. But there's a lot of, she pulls our relationship into it. I think it's the best book I've ever read. And I'm not very good at reading. But she did this beautiful job on the book. But so she was at the WB, the original WB for forever, and was a casting executive there. And then eventually moved, and then when the WB exploded, or the CW, whatever it was, it took her a while to get back on her feet and find a new job. And it was sort of around the same time I was looking for work.
Oh shit! So this is real turmoil. Like you've got the fear of responsibility in a child when both of you are in total career upheaval.
Yeah. Yes. Tess was pregnant, and we both didn't really have work, and it was only a few, like literally within the same week.
That's gallows humor. You laughing at that, right?
Yes,
you're laughing at how terrifying it would be to be bringing a child into the world with neither one of you having real work, or feeling you're lost at sea occupationally.
Yes, I remember going to a doctor's appointment with her, and having to pay for the doctor, and this is while we were trying to figure out if we were gonna try to have a child. And I remember thinking, like, paying the bill and going, and I didn't tell her. We were married at the time, but I was like, I think I have about $240 left in my bank account.
Oh wow, that's lonely.
I was like, man, maybe we put the kid thing off for
put it on layaway. Put the child on layaway.
But anyway, so she had, within the same week that we had found out Tess was pregnant, she found out she was being hired at Fox as a casting executive, and so that was a big deal. And we really wanted to I really wanted to allow her to have that experience fully, because the first 9 months of that experience for her was she was pregnant, and and it only progressed and got more intense, the pregnancy, and took her sort of focus off the job. And then once Lily was born, I was like, go do it. You be there. I'll take care of our child. It's not like I'm working.
But this part is hard to confront, though. Now you're making the decision, and you're at the crossroads of the abyss on, I don't want to be the man who brings the baby carriage to the audition, so do I need to let go of my dreams?
Yeah, and at that point, I think what was interesting about it was I was like, oh, I don't know that my dreams were ever going to fulfill me in the way that this child has. Those all seem futile now.
Nice. What a lovely thing to see.
And so I sort of was like, oh, this other thing is not that important. And so I started to look for employment elsewhere. And meanwhile, Tess was having this incredible experience at work and really shining. And it was probably because of that shift in perspective that I was able to approach what I was doing in a different way. And then was very lucky and New Girl came out.
Approach it in a different way. How? You were just sort of come what may. My life has been altered now. I have different priorities, and
I don't need this. I don't need this job anymore. I don't need this thing anymore. And I'm only doing it. And really, with that one specifically, with New Girl, it was written so well. Liz Merriweather, who wrote the pilot and who created the series and wrote most of the episodes, she's such a phenomenal writer. And that material was so good. And I thought, well, I'm surely never going to get this. But I wanted to just perform the material that they had given me. And so I just took the joy of doing that. And then the next thing you know, they were like, you're the guy we want to hire. And then I thought, well, I'll never get it. And, the rest sort of. And
does that you would qualify that as your big break?
Oh, for sure, without question. Yeah.
So everything before that is hustle, grind, hope, but not feel like you're actually making it. I'm coming in second place all the time, and if New Girl doesn't happen, you're probably not long for the job.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like that.
That was it. I was really done. I was for sure done. I almost didn't want to do it anymore. And then everything shifted.
Because being a dad changed you that much instantaneously?
Yeah, I was like kind of embarrassed. I sort of had to look at this. I was like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I don't want to be it felt selfish to me.
Small and selfish comparatively.
Yeah. And I didn't want to participate in that anymore. I was like, let me find a way to and again, not only as a parent but as a husband to my wife who was doing so well, I was like, I can be of service to our family in a much different way and more effective way than running around and doing this thing.
So you don't then graduate to what many people graduate to with what is perceived as success, which is you neglect family in pursuit of fame, glory, money, and vanity.
That was not my experience. I did not choose that.
But I'm saying that many people in this field have to choose themselves selfishly, often with an imbalance that neglects family, right? And the conquering hunt of this is a cutthroat business. Like it's really hard to succeed.
It's very hard, and I think people are put in that position to make really challenging. If you're lucky enough to have those challenging decisions to make, where am I? And I think you always have them, but it's really some of them are to a great extent. Am I going to leave my family and go run after this thing? And you get to sort of do the calculus on it of like, well, how much is this going to affect my family? How long am I going to be away? And so, you put all that into the...
So you've arrived at a life perspective now that has put the proper balance, or you've always been there, between career and family?
At that moment, and I think leading up to that moment, I think I always had... When I decided that I was done, it really... it felt very clear to me what was important in my life. And since New Girl, and there's been some incredible moments since then, I'd say for the very most part, it has felt very clear to me like what my priorities are and what's important.
But you can't believe you're here? Like you don't feel like an imposter. You don't feel like it's unearned. You don't feel like you've worked hard enough to...
No, I just can't believe it continues. And some of the places that it's taken me. It's been none of this has been planned.
Well, because you've worked. Well, what do you mean though? You're working for 12 years. Perhaps it doesn't have the structure or scaffolding that you want, but you're working for 12 years, planning to get to something.
Well, I don't know. Did you have a plan or?
I was only good at one thing. I was writing. And so they told me in high school I was good at writing. I didn't have a lot of confidence elsewhere. That seemed like a fun and different thing. And so that was the thing. I didn't like science. I didn't like math. I was decent at school. I was good at school because I was responsible, but the act of learning wasn't. I liked writing, and I was told I was good at it, and so I kept doing that.
Right.
And then along the path, there were lonely outposts on career achievement where I'm like, I need to do something different here that's more communal, because this place that's supposed to be the mountaintop is still a little bit empty. It's not what I imagined it was going to be. Mm-hmm. Writing is lonely. I'm not having interactions with people. I'm creating things, but it's just obsessive compulsive, and it's not a great process. So then I start doing other things that have more laughter in them. Even the radio show I was doing, I did for 10 years a radio show by myself and didn't realize while I was doing it because I'm in my own head and in my own voice, I was never laughing, because if you're doing a show by yourself, you're not quite so crazy unless you're Colin Cowherd that you're going to be making yourself laugh. And so whatever. I mean, I imagine the way that you're built, you're finding yourself either in places or choosing places where you're going to make sure you're laughing.
Yeah, for sure. But again, to go back to what we were saying, it felt like the plan was, plan may be the wrong word. It's, I feel this pull to start writing. And then all of a sudden it feels like this wasn't fully it. And there have been moments where it's but it's run its course, and now I feel lonely and I want to do it in a different way. And now I feel pulled to do something else. So I don't know that, the plan is maybe the wrong word, but it's where I've been pulled and where I've ended up that has been surprising. And I think just like, we were talking about ending up doing that beautiful show on ESPN that you had with your whole with your dad and that whole group. When you talk about being lonely, you had such a wonderful group on that show, and all the wonderful characters, and it was such a familial thing. And so to go from a place where to realize, oh, what I want is community, and to laugh within a group and be a part of.
But all of that, when you phrase it that way, none of that is really planned, right? These are opportunities that present themselves, and then you get pulled. But I did not plan to have a television show with my father on ESPN. That's something that sort of happened.
Yeah, exactly. And so these things sort of happen, and it is until you sort of maybe settle into that and become really aware and conscious of where you are and experience it, it's at that point that you say to yourself, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. And there's a tremendous gratitude that comes with that.
Well, where have you felt it the most? Like if I say to you, and I will tell you that I feel those moments all the time. I'm not kidding you that I can say I felt it walking over here. Just the idea.
So lucky.
My parents are Cuban exiles who would have had no access to the idea of creating things artfully as a expression of freedom. To walk down the Sunset Strip in order to come over here so that I could be brought interesting people who are stimulating from the world of entertainment. Like, what fills me with every step is gratitude, because I didn't plan this. Like, this is something that just grew out of what I kept feeding, like a cauldron that I kept feeding where I could follow my interests.
Yeah. It's so beautiful that you can have those moments, that you're aware enough to be able to sort of you're aware enough of what's happening and within yourself to understand that, like, oh, I'm really feeling this, and let me not throw it away and just disregard it.
Well, you can walk past joy. You
Yes,
can walk right
I know you
past it
can.
without noticing it.
I know it. You can walk past gratitude. You walk past anything. Mm-hmm. And it's being able to stop and really experience it and let it pass through you. And so you are able to experience the next thing is where that's the place I try to live in.
Well, but where did you learn the idea of listening to the pull? Like your what you were doing physically there is you turned a pull into a claw and then sort of made it. I didn't have a choice. I got yanked in this direction by the nose. I don't even know enough to have my fear not follow it. Like I just clearly have to go there. I feel it in my innards.
Yeah, and that's sort of where I've that's been since I started working and since my wife and I started our family. That's been, for the most part, that pull has been, when that pull comes, it's been pretty clear. And it's when I start to pull myself that I get myself in a lot of trouble.
Things you think you want, or things...
I have some ideas that are really
they immediately get
ooh.
Yeah. So, I'm a big Hollywood star. Let me see if I can just birth this, and then someone tells you it's a bad idea. Who's most likely to do that? Is it Tess?
Oh, no. I usually have to experience it on my
own. You have to go and fail.
Yeah, or experience real anguish and go, why does this hurt so bad? And it's like, oh, this was your idea, you moron.
Why does this hurt you so bad? This is what I chose. This is the choice
that's right.
I
And
made.
it takes me a really long time to get to the bottom of this is what you chose. And once I get down to this is what I chose, then it settles and you go, oh, of course.
So you're
an idiot.
You're not speaking spiritually to the idea of when I listen to the universe, things work out well. When I think I'm in control, it's when they fall apart.
100%. Yeah.
Really? So you prefer to walk through life pretending like you don't know anything or self-deprecating about like I don't belong here, I don't read books, but and I also get to do the things that I want professionally.
I understand what you're saying. I get like the self-deprecating thing and everything. Maybe it's the wrong way to articulate it, but it's the thing that I enjoy most in life and which I try to stay connected to always. I love that we're having this conversation. It's really nice. I didn't think we were going to go down this route. But the thing that I love the most in life is discovery. And it's, again, like it can be as simple as walking down the Sunset Strip and discovering that in this moment I feel really grateful. And opening that up and understanding why I'm having that feeling. And again, then letting it go. But like the moments that feel like discovery to me are the most fulfilling. And it's like discovering that I'm now, with the books and discovering new moments as a parent and discovering new moments as a husband and discovering new moments in life. It's like, and about myself and how I react to those things. And sometimes how I can better react to those things. But all of that feels like the most fulfilling part of living. And that's where I'm really, that's where I'm at these days.
I see the smile on your face and also sort of the mischievous child I think of discovery and wonder as not uniquely childlike, but adulthood happens and then somewhere in there the child in you gets killed. It doesn't seem like you've lost your enthusiasm for that. It seems... My guess is that if I was talking to your wife right now, she'd be very frustrated by some of the childlike elements that you have. But she also would love that she gets to see the child that you are, because what a great thing to share with somebody who's an adult but is just delighted like a child would be about whatever has made him grateful that day.
Yeah, totally. And I think, though, like what we talk like some of the fears and the other things I think really have a way of suffocating that child and suffocating the ability to have those moments of discovery. And so it's trying my best on a daily basis to sort of put that at bay so I can be open to whatever's in front of me.
The Burlington Coat Event is back. Buy a coat now through November 29th and get $5 off your merchandise purchase of $25 or more from December 6th through December 24th. Plus, Burlington is donating 50,000 new coats to help those in need nationwide through our partnership with Delivering Good. We've been keeping you warm for over 50 years. We'll see you at our coat event. Burlington. Deals. Brands. Wow. Visit burlington.com/coats for details.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Are you hard on yourself?
I'm trying to ease up. I've been so much better lately. Are you hard on yourself?
Oh, brutal. Yeah, brutal. And it doesn't. I'm not sure it serves me anymore. Like I'm not. Like what is or that it ever served me, right? If it's going to be punishing of yourself, but I've always sort of in my head rationalized that if I place my standard in such an unforgiving place for myself, then I'll meet everyone else's standards on whatever it is that I'm making. Mm-hmm. Like if I just, whether it's writing or anything else, like that's the way I've rationalized away being mean to myself, that it produces success. Or I shouldn't even say success, that it produces achievement, because achievement without happiness probably doesn't, it's probably not actually success.
I heard somebody say once, I really liked it. It was about sort of forgiveness, and they said something, the extent to which you judge others is the extent to which you judge yourself. And I was like, oh God. And so I immediately stopped judging people in my life, and I was just very conscious of it. I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. But then I was like, I'm still judging myself on such a high level. Mm-hmm. And I'm still, again, like you said, so mean to myself. What is going on? And so I'm really trying to be kind to myself.
Well, the people who've been listening to this for a while know that I say that I have no greater task that I've had in therapy other than finding ways to be nicer to myself. Like and being in a loving relationship has also helped, in that someone who loves me makes me feel like the ugly parts of myself are also acceptable, or the parts that I'd like to hide or keep unseen aren't unseen and are also loved.
And what have you discovered?
On which part? On therapy or on the relationship and
the
where
relationship
it is
to yourself, and how what are the things that you do to ensure that you are kinder to yourself?
Well, it's an awareness of being above it. When I don't know that people are constantly sort of understanding that they're being cruel to themselves. You have to be watching what it is that you're doing. You have to be outside of yourself, sort of observing yourself, right? It takes a level of self-awareness. I don't know if people who are walking around the world feeling things always know that they're feeling them. Like if they know the depths of their unhappiness, if they numb themselves, if they're just sort of used to what their life experience has been. But when I have found very much over the course of, I'm going to say, the last 5 years, losing my brother, needing to be held up by people, that there are parts of joy that are a choice. That I've been my own worst enemy. Like if I'm going to choose to punish myself, I'm going to get in the way of my own happiness, right? If I can't let things go, if I can't be easier, more forgiving on myself.
Yeah, it's like discovering that I have so much power that I'm giving myself so much power over myself.
It's weird. It's a weird thing to discover this late in life. But what my therapist says is many people go to the grave without ever discovering it at all, right?
Yeah. But yes, it's good. It's good to. I guess you're right. It's very good to. It's good to be aware of all of it.
But you don't present as someone who's particularly hard on yourself. Like I know you don't have this kind of success. It's not an accident. You can pretend it's a happy accident. It's not an accident.
Dan, I'm a very good actor.
You can't even say it with a straight face, but somewhere inside you, you must know. You must know that you're pretty good. You must know.
No, I do. I do.
Yeah, I mean, you're working with people who are at the top end of the scale. You might not believe that you belong with them, but some part of you wants to believe he should be the actor who can compete with them.
Right. Well, I don't know that compete is the right word, but I think, I've been really lucky and I've been around some real heavyweights, Mike Schur being one of them. And being with those folks and being able to collaborate with them and not feel like, and not feel scared and not, I mean, and where it takes away from what we're trying to do and have an understanding about what they're talking about and what they're asking from you. Being in that situation and feeling like you are adding to what they're doing, that's a really good feeling.
Well, where'd you get to that confidence, though? Because that's a rare feeling as well. Usually the only way to get there is to stack successes atop each other.
Well, I go in terrified. So for like Mike's show,
Ted Danson's an accomplished actor.
Ted Danson is an accomplished actor
who's worked with Mike Schur a lot.
So Ted and I had spent a little time during the previous summer together. So Ted was not. I wasn't terrified of Ted, and getting to know him, I was like, oh, this is the nicest man on earth. Schur, I was a little scared of, and Mike, who I've known forever, going in to work with Mike. I know that Mike is one of the rare breeds of humans who work in our industry who, so when usually you have someone who writes and creates a show, and then sometimes that person, I mean, and it would make sense, isn't great at running the show. And that means producing it and putting it all together and doing it. It's like sometimes that person is just, sometimes they feel like it's best for that person just to write the show, and then they bring in someone called a showrunner. Okay. Very rarely you get somebody who's excellent at both. Mike is one of those people. And so it's like having a general manager who is also coaching the team and has just put together a dynasty and understands it in a way that is beyond anything you could ever comprehend. And so when you're going into it, you're like, okay, it's clear who's in charge here. All I have to do is think about like what it is that I have, like this little piece that I'm playing in it, and how do I best serve what he's trying to do overall.
I don't think anybody has any idea, though, what you're talking about when you're describing the thicket of what it takes to make an excellent television show, to showrun, to be when you're trying to articulate what is the genius of making Parks and Rec or The Office or any of these things. Yeah, I don't think people understand. They might like Mike Schur's work, but they don't understand the number of different qualities that someone like that has to have, including being a fundamentally decent human being, so that all the people who work with him want to make sure that they're giving their maximum effort to not disappoint him, because his standard is going to be as high as any of your standards.
Yes, and so to give some sort of context, there's maybe 4 people who do it at the top level. And Mike is one of them. And so,
and his wife, by the way, it's not like
JJ's incredible. That JJ was a writer on New Girl, and that's how we met, and then became close with Mike later. And then our daughters were really close.
You really muttered that one under your breath. You gave your Mike Schur bona fides, and then our daughters are really close too. You didn't put your heart in it.
Well, that really was like.
Yeah, it felt like you were bragging a little bit.
Well, it's not that much. If I open up that, we then go for another 30 minutes on like our kids on the
really
history of
I don't want to hear.
No,
I don't want to hear any of that.
That's why I did it. But so anyway, so I show up on the first day, and usually this has been my experience as I now understand it. I show up. I've done everything I can do, or I think that might benefit me when I'm actually in it. And the first day is usually me getting punched in the face as hard as I can. And so we were doing this. Mike was directing the first episode of this season. and it was my first day. And he had set up. I didn't realize how intricate he was going to be with the camera, and he was really trying to. He's really like he did some beautiful stuff with this season, and to create suspense with the mystery. And Ted's now just like a full-on detective, and so he was doing this big long shot where the camera's passing through. I want to say maybe 10 different characters, and he gets past like 2 or 3 people. It's like bends around Gary Cole and then passes me. I have one line, and then it bends around a corner. And this is always the worst case scenario, because you're like, if you're the idiot who messes this up,
the one line, it's like
in
a conga line of 10, he's giving you an easy job.
Yeah, but you are such a small part of this. But if you screw it up, we have to do the whole thing again. And so the first take, we do it. The camera's moving around. Boom, it gets to me, and I fully muff my line. And by the way, if I could have bet in Vegas, if that was going to happen, I would 100% put it against me. And so much so that, and when it happened, I started to laugh. But it also, you could have it was like, I got the words out.
You could have used it.
You could have used it. So they do the whole thing. Cut. They finish the thing. Mike is giving notes to everybody. He's like, there's 10 people. He's like, 1, 2, 3. He passes me and he goes, first take, really?
So that's the experience. The experience is you're going to take the beating the first day, get it over with.
I've got to get a sense of what's going on. And within that, I know that I'm going to feel lost. And that's okay, as long as I don't get fired.
Right.
And so we did. I started to pick up what was going on. Next thing you know, we're doing a scene. David Strathairn, who's so brilliant in the show this year, is doing a thing out in the audience, and they're on his coverage first, and he's looking up at me giving this like insane speech. I play the president of the university, who's wildly full of shit, and David, who plays this like as he would describe it, fluffy professor, is looking at me and keeps going, this man is the worst. And I go, I now know exactly what I need to be. I need to be the worst version of what that guy thinks. And by the way, David Strathairn's a much better actor than
So, but now you've got your motivation. You've got your thing. You know exactly who you are.
I know what we're doing now. And from that point forward, we just ran.
It's a playground after that, right?
After that,
you can just play to all your worst, all of the best parts of acting that allow you to turn up the volume on all those bad parts that are funny.
Yeah, and Mike is so brilliant and so wonderful, and as you say, a wonderful human being, but also very funny, and has a little bit of the childlike, mischievous part of himself too. But he doesn't show it often because he's got to be the adult in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I start to do on the show is sort of needle him and go, Mike, what if we did this? And he would go, please don't.
Just terrible ideas? You're just giving him bad ideas, telling him how to do his job?
Well, no, because it's all within this thing that he's created. So it's not outside of what he's making. It's very much inside of it. And he's just going, when he says, please don't do that, there's a little part of him that's saying, or just try it to see what it looks like, because I'll laugh.
Right.
Like, don't do it because I know I won't use it, but if you do it, I'm definitely going to laugh.
Right. Okay.
And
so you guys are playing some. So you guys...
It became a full playground, and there's stuff in the show that there's stuff this year that I may or may not have begged him to let me do, which he then reluctantly allowed me to do. One of the things ended up in the show, and we had dinner the other night, and he was like, we got to like the 9th cut of this episode, and he and Morgan, who he produces Sackett, who he produces the show with, they looked at each other and he goes, how did he get this in?
Is this the most fun you've had doing something? Like, how does this compare in terms of the doing of things? Because some of these things can be merciless. They can seem like they might be fun and then not be fun. even with success?
Sure. There's been a lot of stuff that has been a drag. I'd say for the most part, I'd say 90% of the jobs I've been on have been so much fun. This was especially great because you have a prior relationship with someone who you love, who you know is such a wonderful person, and you all of a sudden find yourself in a working environment with them, and you're like, ooh, I hope this doesn't take away from our friendship, or if this goes bad, I hope this doesn't affect us in any way. And once we sort of discovered, oh, we like what each other, I shouldn't say we like, as soon as we figured out the dynamic and Mike was into what I was doing and we had an agreement of like, oh, this is going to work throughout, and it then becoming so much fun, I've never felt closer to him, and it only enhanced our relationship, and that to me was the best part of the experience.
That would have been moving if I hadn't been distracted by the sheer number of burps that you were stifling while you told that story.
Was I?
You're lacking in self-awareness. You were not aware.
They were not burps. Maybe they were just like saliva things.
No, it was a recurring it was a recurring stifling of burps. Shit. That was accompanying some really genuine, moving articulation of of your love of Mike Schur and his talent.
That's my tell.
A Man on the Inside is the name of the show. It is now streaming on Netflix. It was delightful to talk to you. Thank you for spending the time with me.
Really wonderful. I was so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You didn't ask me any questions.
I tried. You really sent us off on a path.
See, I do that, though. It's the way that I avoid all intimacy.
Dog shit.
I know. I'm right. It's such a good move.
We were in such a good zone before we started.
Yes, if we were to air what happened beforehand that betrays secrets that my father would never want told, yes, that would have been good content. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Jeremy.
I've got kind of an open secret, but I want to tell you what it is here because Mike's not here right now.
Well, you better whisper.
I really like it when the Hurricanes lose, and it gives me a reason to celebrate when I'm watching college football.
Well, let's open a Miller Lite and cheers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you know how I do that? There's nothing quite like it. It's really a spectacular thing to have for your college football Sunday.
It's so good.
Game day, it's different with Miller Lite in your hand.
You don't have to whisper the whole time.
I can't stop.
From jaw-dropping touchdowns to fantasy heartbreaks, it's the beer that's been there for every moment. 50 years of great taste, simple ingredients, and that iconic golden color that you can spot from across the room.
I see one right now. I'm looking across the room.
I like the way that you flirt with Miller Lite.
I mean, look at it. It looks great. It's looking
beautiful.
at me.
You want to know why?
I'm looking at it. It's looking at me.
It's probably because it's just 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. It's the original light beer since 1975, which means it's that Bob Ryan age. Still hitting different 5 decades later. Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/beach to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Miller Lite, I want you in me.